castle by castle.
You could fight for God, for country, for family. I do not care, so long as you fight!
The Outlaw King. The movie is starring Chris Pine, Aaron Taylor Johnson, a lot of people that were in Game of Thrones, the guy who was Vincent Van Gogh in Doctor Who, and yeah, and also it's got the guy who played George Mormont, who was also in Braveheart. Alright, so here's what I'll say about the Outlaw King. I mean, when I heard about the Outlaw King, I heard this is like a sequel to Braveheart. I was like, well, Braveheart's one of my favorite movies of all time. I have a poster of in my living room. So, hell yeah, let's watch a sequel to Braveheart. And then, you know, I heard some negative buzz around the movie, and then I watched the movie myself, and I just was kind of underwhelmed. The thing I will say about this movie, this movie wants so bad. It feels like it's so bad it wants to be a Braveheart sequel, but it just does not get to the scale or the greatness of that movie. Because Braveheart's one of my favorite movies of all time. So whenever this is kind of like a sequel to Braveheart, then I'm very much interested. Let's talk about the performances. Chris Pine, I hate to compare this movie to Braveheart, but guess what? I'm going to compare this movie to Braveheart. Comparing Chris Pine to the guy who played Robert the Bruce, between these two, like, because this was the only two performances of Robert the Bruce, I prefer the guy from Braveheart better, and the ending of Braveheart, I think, is 100 times better than this entire story of this movie. The problem with this movie is just, it's so predictable. The story is, you know where the story's going to go. Basically, it's a rebellion. They basically say, we're going to go up against the kingdom. We're going to go against England. They get their groups. They get slaughtered, and then they have to start this little rebel guerrilla fighting group. Then they eventually defeat the enemy at the end. That's your basic movie, and it's been seen a million times before. Which I'm very disappointed behind, because this is directed by David Mackenzie. And David Mackenzie did the movie Hell or High Water, which I love. One of my favorite movies of that year it came out. And I just was not crazy. The only thing I will say good about this movie, if this movie was this way like the ending was, like the whole movie, I would have been really interested. And that was the final battle. The battle was so cool, seeing how the Scottish had prepared their final trap for the English, and they were able to have like 500 men fight like thousands of English. And it was just cool seeing that way. It was like the episode of Game of Thrones whenever the Starks and the Boltons are fighting, and basically all the men are surrounded. It kind of feels hard to breathe. That's what kind of felt like this moment in the movie for me. Overall, The Outlaw King's it's an enjoyable movie. It has some really slow, boring parts to it. So guys, I enjoyed the movie. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It's okay. It's a good history lesson. If you were looking for a Braveheart knockoff, I mean, this is a B movie compared to a Braveheart. I'm going to give this movie a C+. This is an enjoyable movie to a degree, but really, I'm never going to want to watch this movie again. Come on, Netflix, make a good fucking movie. Guys, have you seen The Outlaw King? What are your thoughts? Comment below, let me know. And guys, if you like this video, click that thumbs up button. Subscribe to see more. Tell your friends about Easy Nation. All too easy.